I like how that slap right there. You got me feeling real Horseshoes Jones, man. Yeah. It's so great lacing here. Midwest finesse now, let's be clear. Northern exposure, new frontier. Good rhymes, good times, and yes, it's good gear. We be spinning BPs in here. Giannis and Yelich have some good years. No time faking it, we about making it. That glass ceiling stuff, yo, I'm all about breaking it. From a small town, but I got big dreams. Chamber valued up now, get more greens. Where the good fiber, the flow gone cyber. Vamos los flamingos flock tighter. All we do is give that good try. Goes ahead and playlist on Spotify. Do da-da-da-da, do just like Shy. It's that 9-9 simple word, so fly.
What is up, flock and friends? It's Rob Chappell with another edition of the 608 Soccer Show. With me, as always, Ethan Maurice. How you doing?
One of the best weeks that we've ever had. One of the best pods that we're ever going to have. So strap in.
Let's go. Let's go. I just have to note, I just saw that I have 2 teenage children downstairs, not watching France versus Iraq right now as we record this, but watching Law and Order from the 90s.
Oof.
The Jack McCoy era.
There you go. There you go.
My
At least
kids
they
are
have some class.
they're such nerds. So we got a lot to talk about. We'll get to the Mingos, but first we want to get to Argentina-Algeria.
Oh, man.
Because Messi scored a hat trick, and that's the only reason we want to talk about it, right?
Yeah, well, the other, for listeners who don't follow me on Twitter, I was lucky enough to have the chance to go. My mom went to coffee with her tennis partner who casually mentioned she had an extra ticket and would she want to go? And my mom was like, no, but my kid might. And
Yeah.
she called me. She was like, you want to? And I was like, of course.
Yes.
So an 8-hour drive down to Kansas City, a nice hotel on the south side of Kansas City, a kitschy little American diner.
Nice.
And then there was like kind of a plaza area where Argentina was hanging out. I don't know if you saw any videos about that, but that was crazy. And then downtown was like a big screen and not a fan fest. Like there's an official FIFA fan fest that looked a little too commercial for me to do. But then from there we drove into the game and we parked at Kansas City Stadium, not called Arrowhead.
Right.
It was a little bit crazy to get in. There was definitely like a mob of about 5,000 people trying to go through a fence with about a 6-foot aperture and cops selectively letting folks in. But we got in. I mean, it was cool just to be there. Argentina versus Algeria.
Yeah.
So Algeria was hopeful, and it was both teams' first match. So Algeria was hopeful, but also very happy just to be there. And we were out in force. For
sure.
Oh my gosh, it was kind of like 3 sides were Argentina, and then one end was Algeria, and then one corner was like the American fans, like just World Cup fans or whatever. Right.
Yeah, neutrals.
Yeah.
And you opted for the drip kit, I think?
Oh, absolutely. You had to. Yeah, I had to make sure to spread the word about the best club in Wisconsin. Yeah. A couple of fans were checking it out, asking me about it. I had a girl from Argentina want to hold it and take a picture with it, so that was pretty cool. So
That's
somewhere in
cool,
Argentina is a full Mingo picture floating around.
Nice.
But yeah, no, it was really great. Both teams scored right away and were called offsides, and then Messi himself scored once at 10 or 20, and then once again around 30, and then after halftime, you're just kind of like waiting for it. And I think truly, like, not even just soccer, but one of the most powerful sports moments I think I'll ever see is folks were coming back from halftime, and it was maybe 47 or 48, and we were just getting settled in, 70,000 people getting ready to do that again, and it was a standing only thing. Everyone was standing, but at that point, just coming back from halftime, folks were sitting, and then Messi got the ball and he was on the wing, and you could literally just see the crowd rise like it was church. Like the most important guy said, stand up, and everyone was up. And it was just so cool to see the whole He didn't even score in that moment, but yes, he's the only person I've ever seen convince 70,000 people to rise without beckoning them. It was incredible. And yeah, the third goal was just pandemonium.
I bet. Which was his 15th of his World Cup career, which tied him with Marcel Klose. But was that 15 or 16? That was
Today
15.
we're recording.
Today was 16 and 17, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Wild. But so good experience overall, obviously.
Oh, it was incredible. Yeah,
It
absolutely.
wasn't too much. Like you said it was the getting in was a bit rough because of security, but it wasn't contentious or anything.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been to Omaha. It gets crazy down there. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Yeah, I mean, like it's definitely worse than an NFL game, but it wasn't. There was no violence. People were just wanting to get in and anxious that they couldn't yet.
Yeah.
I now know how to say "open the gates" or "open." Well, and some curse words in Spanish. So that's pretty exciting. But yeah, I got to talk to all sorts of different people. I got pictures with all sorts of different people from somewhere else. So
Awesome.
yeah,
That's so cool.
it was really, really cool.
Is it true you're going back?
Yeah, rumor has it that my girlfriend got me tickets. I'm actually having to gear up because we're hopping in the car tomorrow to do it all again. An 8-hour drive down there is not too bad if you have a World Cup game to look forward to. It's coming back to have the rest of your regular life to look forward to. That is
That 8 hours gets long.
Drive. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
But luckily, I was coming back last week Wednesday, which means I had a Forward Madison game to look forward to. So my last drive back wasn't too bad. It's going to be this upcoming return trip that's really going to be a slog.
Yeah. So who are you seeing next?
It's Netherlands and Tunisia, I do believe.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
With the Orange Army. That's fantastic. And you got an extra half hour to come back because the Wednesday night match we was talking about was delayed by weather, which kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, it was kind of raining all day, but it looked like it was going to clear up, and then all of a sudden there was like lightning right about 8:00. There was a little bit of lightning, and they had to just hold it for a bit. But you were there for that one. We didn't do post game because it got to be too late, and it was kind of a dull game, and nobody wanted to talk about it anyway.
Yeah, and the main guy we talked to post game was not available to be chatted with, unfortunately.
Right. We'll get to that. So so what we're going to talk about today is a 1-1 draw with Fort Wayne on Wednesday, and then a 3-1 win over New York Cosmos on Saturday. 3 games unbeaten at home. I wanted 9 points. You thought we'd get 7. You were right on. We got 7 points out of the 3 matches, which is pretty good, honestly.
Yeah, I would have rather that you were right, but I suppose I'll take it.
And it could have been. I mean, we really could have beat Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
Right.
And of the 3 teams, I'd rather draw to them. I mean, they're at the top of the table. I suppose I'd rather pass them in the table. But in terms of respectability, you'd rather drop points to the worst ones.
Yeah, Fort Wayne is suddenly after the draw with us, and then they got a win on the weekend. They're 10 games unbeaten, which is
truly they're everywhere. They're the top of the first year teams table. So good for them.
Right. Which is surprising the way the season started. You thought that would be Boise at this point, but so I don't know what happens when we get on national TV and it becomes a boring draw. Like every time we get on ESPN2, it's going to be a big deal, and then it's a dud. Although watching this game back on video, it was less boring than I remembered it.
Okay. Yeah.
Honestly.
Yep.
There was plenty of chances. It was a frustrating watch back because we had so many chances that we didn't get. But it wasn't quite as dull as a draw can be sometimes.
Yeah, right. We unfortunately can't go without talking about the ref. I don't feel like doing too much complaining, but that was at least exciting in the stadium, getting to kind of heckle him. And the red card was great value for money. I mean, I paid $20 to see that red card again.
Yeah. Well, that watching it back again, that missed Dogzo that we'll talk about wasn't the only bad call he made. There was a handball that he missed, happened right in front of him in the 7th minute. Yeah. It should have been it wouldn't have been it wasn't in the box, but it was like just outside. It would have been a dangerous free kick and probably a yellow card, honestly. And there were a handful of other things that were just perplexing misses.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, let's ask first of all, what do we think about the cow shirt?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care that you can't see the numbers. That doesn't really mean a whole lot to me.
Yeah, that does bother me.
the U.S. men's team has a pretty cool pattern, and then the back is like no pattern, so you can see the numbers. I don't
Mhm.
think I would prefer that. That looks kind of
Yeah.
goofy.
Right.
So I do like how that was executed. The giant blow up cow shirt on the east wash side of the stadium is a
Mhm.
home run for me. I love that. I hope they take that somewhere out of the stadium and fly it around.
Mhm.
I don't think they will, but just boat it around to Mendota or whatever and
Mhm.
spread the word. I like that the shorts are the same thing. It's just a nice big cow onesie. That's pretty cool. Um, and
I
the guys who have black boots look great. Like
yeah.
hooves.
I guess if you're gonna do something like this, you got to commit to the bit. Like
Mhm.
normally, if you'd have a sort of a loud pattern shirt, you'd have solid shorts. But they're like, nope, we're going all in. It's a cow
Yeah.
onesie.
Yep.
I kind of hate it, but I kind of like the commitment.
Yeah, right. If once you get behind it, then it's cool. If it's another team doing it, oh, that's stupid.
Yeah,
Unless, I mean, it's National Dairy Month. You got to do it for the culture. You got to,
yeah.
yeah.
And you gotta do it when you're on national TV. And I mean, you cannot lose wearing that shirt. Like that's like you can wear a goofy shirt if you're a good team.
Hmm.
you know, I think
Right.
it's where I come down on it. I was a little surprised that they wore it again on Saturday. Honestly, like I thought it would be a one-off for sure.
Yeah,
But
I mean, they can't do just one. I think if they would do just one, then the fans would have a right to complain about why are you sending us a shirt you only wore one time. But
true, true.
we haven't lost in it yet, so I'm fine if they
That's
want to keep
also true.
wearing it.
I
That's
did
for
I
them.
did also appreciate the bucket hats that they're giving
Yes.
away. The cow pattern bucket hats.
Yeah, so I've been dying to talk about this actually. I consider myself a bit of a bucket hat connoisseur. First things first, it was a good bucket hat, but I've seen a lot of different styles. I don't know if you have a style preference because personally I wear it brim down, but I
Mm-hmm.
also saw some people doing like sailor style with brim up all the way around. But then I also saw people doing some brim up in the front, down in the back, and I was just wondering if you were a bucket hat guy, what would you do?
I am a brim down person. I wear
Mhm.
bucket. I am a brim down guy because my primary time when I wear bucket hats is either when I'm working outside or camping or kayaking. So I wear the bucket
Yep.
hats for the protection of the sun on my neck and my bald head. So
Yep.
I do not take the string and tie them up. You know.
Yep.
uh, but I did. I again appreciate the commitment to the bit of the cow pattern on giving away hats. Now this reminds me of something. You were not at the game on Saturday, right? But
That's correct.
I forgot that you had told me you weren't going to be there, and I forgot. And somebody asked me if you were there, and I said I think I probably am not sure. And he said, "Well, I did see a bucket hat, so that must have been Ethan." So somebody else was wearing a
Nice.
bucket hat and was mistaken for you.
Hey.
All right. So actually, let's talk about the actual game here. The 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 commentators on the national broadcast. It's fun because they do the ESPN2. They do where they pretend they're in the stadium, so they got suits on
Uh-huh.
and stuff, or at least like the upper halves of suits. So they probably just got like sweatpants on, but they got like shirts and ties, and they're doing a little thing in front of the step and repeat. And they were like,
Yep.
they were actually saying that they expect a lot of goals tonight. I don't know what
Mhm.
led them to think that. But they also gave a nice little tactical analysis of a little preview of how Madison's defensive shape can sometimes spring corners going forward, which is kind of a cool little touch, I thought.
Yeah.
Um,
Good.
so the lineup had a lot of rotation, as you'd expect, going from a Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, right? You
Yep.
had Kenny Underneath. I mean, Colin McCamey actually was listed as a center back and actually did start at the center back spot in the right center back, but he played as a midfielder as he has the last several nights. There's
Yeah.
several weeks, right?
Yep.
And you had Clyde Ngubu, Geb, Torres in the middle, Bolma in the middle, Carmichael up top. So not a completely unusual lineup, but some rotation. They did do some pressing early, not nearly as hard as they did in Boise. They were a little bit more selective. And overall, I think missed some chances, which we'll talk about. defensively kept Lillian Recall and Tag Healy, the two names that we were warned about, kept them pretty quiet.
Yep.
Overall, with the exception of the sort of finishing the chances, I thought it was a pretty decent performance. What did you think?
Yeah. I mean, it was. I hate to go back to it again. It was hard to evaluate the boys because you were too busy being pissed about the ref the whole time. But what the guys did, they really did well. I mean, the goal was really nice. It was well taken. I really thought that Bolma played well. JT was kind of quiet, but it was a cohesive backline performance.
Yes.
Sometimes we are defending with 2, sometimes with 3, sometimes with 4 or 5. And they know how to hold the line to not let those 2 big threats eat. And they also are kind of figuring out how to step up. That's been one of the big problems for us lately. But no crazy goals from way too far away. So
there was almost one. There was one moment when that vulnerability popped up, when there's that gap just outside the box where a guy can pick up a ball at 25 yards or so and rip a shot. That what's his name? Ryan Betcher hit the post in the 11th minute, but it didn't happen again after that, because after that, next time a ball got in that area, we were stepping up. So I think it's something that they're aware of, that they become aware of, and that they've sort of learned from mistakes. That was in the 11th minute. The Betcher hit the post, so lucky that didn't go in. The should have been red card, I think, was about the 15th minute. Is that right?
Yeah, because that's the eventual what was a red card happened at about the 16th minute. So yes.
Right, that's right. Yep. So I don't even know if it's worth talking about whether or not this should have been a red card, because it's just unquestionable that it should have been.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I have no qualm with that.
Yeah. So it's a throw in. Gibbs flicks it on to Cagnane. He gets ahead to Carmichael. Carmichael's got Thiago Diaz beat. Diaz puts his arm over his shoulder, clips his heels, takes him down outside the box. Obvious red card. It wasn't even called a foul.
Yeah.
The commentators were like repeatedly said, like on the TV broadcast, like that should have been, that was a red card, obviously. And Matt Glaeser got his money's worth. I thought him kicking the ball away was the funniest thing I've seen this year.
Yeah, and that even made like the highlight video. Usually the league cuts those sort of things out of the 7-minute highlight video, whatever. But that even stayed.
Right.
I need the club to post like a Twitter video of like kicking lessons with Matt. That would really crack me up. So we'll have to talk to our girls at our ladies at the post game conference.
If you're gonna get a red card, this is how to do it. I mean, he was obviously chirping, got the yellow, kept chirping, got the red. We could tut and be like, you gotta keep your composure, Matt. Yes, I set a good example and stuff, but also I kind of don't mind in that situation. The boys are gonna. You can't blame him. You don't need the manager on the sideline right there during the game, really. I mean, he does well managing games, but Patrick Narco's a smart guy also. And he's got a. I think it is reasonable to communicate to the league that this was an unacceptable decision.
Yeah,
I'm
sure nobody's happy to pay the fine, but
I'm sure he'll get a fine. I mean, he had to sit out the next match, and I'm sure for the kick of the ball, he'll get a fine or something, or maybe another game suspension or something. But but I will say that the commentators on the TV also complimented the fans for giving him an ovation, because for just being intelligent enough to know what was happening, that there should have been a red card, that exactly what Matt was mad about, that we should have been playing for 80-something minutes, 70-something minutes, a man up.
Yeah, I know, and you almost can't believe it, other than the fact that you've seen it a dozen times before, depending on how long you've been watching the Mingos. And you hate for that to be the game-defining thing, but there's really not a whole lot else you can say.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other reason not to even spend too much time on it, because it didn't change the game, really. I mean, it may have. We'll never know. We still could have beat these guys 11-on-11, honestly. And the other thing is, it tells you that Thiago Diaz did not do his scouting on Ryan Carmichael. Because if he would have done his scouting on Ryan Carmichael, he would know that Ryan Carmichael, whenever he gets in on goal 1-on-1, he just hits it to the goalkeeper's chest anyway. So you do not have to foul him in that situation. He's not going to score.
Right. No kidding. No
we
kidding.
love you, Ryan
And then,
Carmichael.
Yes, and then later in the following game, he scored the goal, or he assisted the goal by not shooting and passing instead. So yes, it's been a good week for him. I thought he's taken a step forward, and it's the kind of step forward where you think he's going to be able to continue like building on it. It's not like a giant leap and then you maybe expect some regression. I think he was behind average and now has taken a step forward back to kind of where he should be. So I'm really excited to see that. Unfortunately for him, Ngobu has also kind of picked things up. So I think there's just as much competition as there was, but I think Carmichael's still giving everybody a selection headache, whether it's Nyarko or Glaeser.
He's been very, very good even when he's not scoring. Like he's been dropping back and he's been digging balls off of him. He's been turning balls over. He's been pressing. He's been really, really difficult to deal with on the press the last several games. I agree with you. Now we did, as I mentioned, miss a bunch of chances. FotMob identified 6 big chances, of which we scored 1. So I'm not sure exactly how they define a big chance, but a big chance is basically something you should have scored. And we missed 5 out of the 6, but we did get 1 right before the half-hour mark. Came from a goal kick, and it was pretty fast from the back, which I like to see. It was a goal kick. Kanane wins the header, gets over to Geb on the left wing. He just hits it first time. He just looked up and like saw what was happening, didn't settle, just pops it up with his left foot right into a spot where Carmichael is running between 2 defenders, and Carmichael did this cute little back heel into space on the right, and then chased it down, and there was nobody there. He had nothing but space. And Solis, the big, huge, tall, the only defender we'll see all year that's taller than Claudio Ngubu. He's like 6'7" or something.
Yeah, I thought that was 2 guys in a trench coat.
Right. 2 guys in a Fort Wayne jersey. But he was just a little bit slow to recover, which I heard later is kind of his thing, that he's not super fast on his reflexes when the guys are on the wing. And just rolled it across nice and easy. And Joshua Bolma, who scored this goal, was the recognition from him. As soon as Ryan popped the ball out into space, Bolma was like, "Oh, I'm going. Like I know exactly where I need to get to," and nobody picked him up. And he knew nobody was picking him up. He knew, I'm just going to run right through here. Everybody's watching the ball. I'm just going to start right through here, get to a spot, and nice, easy finish.
Yeah, a great week for Bolma. I think he started as kind of the 12th man, the first guy off the bench, if you will. And in weeks like this where we have to rotate, for him to get 2 good games, really, really excited for him. I hope more to come for him.
Yeah, they had actually the TV guys had a really interesting few things to say about him, about that he was so highly drafted and so highly thought of when he was drafted out of college. And went 4th overall to the New England Revolution, and then got drafted down to Houston, and just never caught on. And after that sort of really high profile beginning of a career, he's here as a trialist for the beginning of the season, and to get signed, and now he's like, okay, this is my chance. I'm taking it, and like you say, has really come on recently, which is great to see.
Yeah, I don't know if fans appreciate the amount of high picks and high profile guys we have, because A, fans aren't aware of the MLS Super Draft like they might be the NFL Draft, and B, because you haven't seen a list of all the guys' resumes all right in a row. But this really is a team that you can't be sleeping on, and I hope fans don't get caught up by the fact that we were about 500 on the road to start the league off. We're back at home, and what is it now? 11-3 in terms of home goal difference.
Something like that, yeah. Haven't lost at home.
And beat the best team in the league away, beat Naples as well away. I mean, this is a really good team, and things are starting to come together. And I don't think anyone should be surprised. because the signs were there if the results weren't. And so it's really nice to have this 7-point week to validate that.
Yeah, and you're right, especially that it is good to remind people that we have a lot of top tier talent, and like Roman Torres is on loan from Minnesota United. Jackson Castro played for Vancouver Whitecaps, and he played for the first team in Vancouver, briefly. So these are guys that are on the bubble of Division One, and they're here for us, and they're getting their shot to get back there, and that's what they're hungry for. In addition to just winning soccer games here,
Yeah,
which is cool.
And the key difference between this league and MLS Next, whatever, is that the results really do matter. Wins and losses are what's going to get a scout's eyes on you. And then once their eyes on you, how did you perform in the win? That's what's going to get you signed. That's what's going to get you a job. But yeah, it is really nice to have the validation, probably to Glaeser, to Carnes, to whoever put this team together, that, yeah, this is a really good collection of players for some third division team in Madison.
We're a bit of a tangent now, but after the Saturday game, I asked, before we started recording, I asked Patrick Narco, I was like, is this the first full professional game that you've managed on your own? And he said, I've managed a couple in Next Pro. And I was like, oh, okay. He's like, I don't know if that counts. And Keith Tiemeyer, director of soccer operations, goes, yeah, you don't have to win in Next Pro. Which is kind of true. It was a funny moment. Anyway, but back to Fort Wayne. Ryan Betcher did tie it up. He was another name that was mentioned when we had Brian Beanbach on the show. That's a guy to watch out for. He scored on us before.
Yeah.
When he was with Omaha. Didn't he score when he was with Omaha, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I remember that name, and that's never a good thing.
Right. Javier Armas subbed on, and his first touch was the assist on this goal. Which technically he didn't get an assist for it because it did take a deflection. And it was, we've been so good defensively, and this is one, a second and a half, our guys let their shoulders drop, and just kind of didn't pay attention. Mark Segbergs didn't see or didn't feel Ryan Betcher coming behind him. The ball gets deflected, it gets popped way up in the air, and everybody's just kind of watching it. And Ryan Betcher just kind of stepped around Mark Segbergs, went boop with his head and tapped it in.
Yeah. It's no surprise that we haven't seen Segbergs other than kind of rotation matches. I get it.
Yeah, he's a winger. He's a defender. He's a midfielder more than defender. We've seen him a couple times a bit on his heels.
Yep, and it is what it is. But I'm more than happy to keep Tag Healy quiet. More than happy to keep Lilian Rico quiet. Did Rico play even? I don't even remember that he was out there.
No, he played 90 minutes.
Yeah.
They both were subs. Rico a 6.4. Healy got a 6.8 on FOTMOB, which means they were active but not doing very much.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw some discourse from a Fort Wayne fan about Healy was kind of acting like a prima donna, like, oh, I didn't get my first chance, so now I'm not going to run and I'm not going to whatever. I will say that doesn't really happen on Forward Madison very often. These guys know who we are, and if you want a good chance, you got to keep running.
Yeah, no, I guess I wasn't watching Healy closely enough to clock that, but if that's true, that he did he did actually create a chance or two early, but we our guys shut him down. And you can't be too mad about letting that one goal in when on the other end you had 3 or 4 more that you could have scored.
Yep.
We shouldn't have been clinging to a 1-0 lead at that point. And also, we almost actually got a winner very late on a couple different things. In the 88th minute, Colin McCamey played Hakeem Karamoko through, who continues to impress, honestly. Talk about another MLS guy.
Yeah.
Who's, he's still technically speaking a DC United guy on loan to us. And McCamey played him through. And it was just really, really well defended. His defender stuck with him and popped out for a corner. On the ensuing corner, Colin McCamey got a free header, just put it over.
Yep.
And then a minute after that, Fort Wayne pushing, trying to get a winner, and Tag Healy, speaking of him, kind of dancing at the top of the box. Kanyane dispossesses him. And Kevin Carmichael clears it out. And all the way out to the center stripe, and Jeffries there makes a beautiful turn. And because they were pushed so high, he just turns to beat one guy, and he's in.
Yep.
And he did have Javier Armas bearing down on him. I'm sure you could hear those footsteps coming, and kind of, I think, felt like he had to hurry a little bit more than maybe he needed to. I think he could have taken one more touch, but he tried to chip Burn Shipman from outside the box, and he just got it wrong.
Yeah, the ball kind of got stuck under his feet.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually in the third to last bleacher from the flock end, right behind the goal, and you could just see he didn't have it in the perfect position to strike. It's hard to say because if I recall correctly, there was also another defender around where it takes a touch that beats that defender, then he still got burned and another guy to deal with. So you'd hate in that moment, you have to get a shot off. But I thought Burned played that really interestingly too. We've talked a little bit about Burned is great, not the best, but he's not as good going down to his right. And he completely took a stance where he overcompensated to his right and didn't have to pay for it. Like his hips and butt were completely facing the left post so that he could go down to his right. I was really surprised about that. And unfortunately couldn't make him pay. But he got away with it, and he got out of there with a pretty good performance, all things considered, to keep Madison down to just one.
Yeah, Burn Shipman played well at receiving, as he always does. This time it was for the other team. He got his 200th USL League One save against us. I'm not sure which save it was exactly, but I saw that afterwards. A couple of the stats on this one: we were 73% passing, which is not great. 53% of our passes were on our own half, which I think is good.
Yeah.
16 shots, 5 on target, 6 big chances, as I mentioned. 29 touches in the opposition box. That's pretty good. 3 for 15 on crosses. Not great.
Yeah.
Attempted 65 long balls. That's getting to be our thing.
Yep.
Apparently, connected on 25 of them, which is a little bit shy of 40%. So, I think where our identity is evolving into a team that tries to strike quickly, and that occasionally does.
Yeah.
And the long balls are part of that.
There's also a really strong set piece element to that as well. If you can get half a goal per game on set pieces, score every other game off a set piece, that's going to be 20 goals in this league, or 18 goals in this league. So, yeah.
Well, yeah. And we have one of those coming up in our next match. But before we get there, anything else on the Fort Wayne Wednesday match?
Nice to see their supporters out. I don't love when other supporters are in the flock end, but we'll be nice to the new guys for a little while.
How many were there? I only saw a couple in the grandstand. Were there a few down at your end?
Half a dozen, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a difficult drive. I'm still surprised they didn't put together a bus or something.
Yeah, a Wednesday night is the only reason.
Oh, right. Of course. Duh. Yeah, it's a weeknight. You're not going to drive 7 hours on a weeknight.
Right.
But we will. I'm going to try to get down there in October for the return trip. So let's turn the page and talk about this much more fun game. Again in the cow shirts against New York Cosmos. Yeah. Definitely wanted this one based on how the one in Paterson, New Jersey went in April, where we had 2-0 at halftime. Yep. They scored a nice finish, and then we had a complete gaffe by the goalkeeper to give up the lead, and then we ended up in a draw.
Yep.
Now, since then, we've gotten better, and New York has gotten worse. They are now wooden spoon contenders. I don't know if there's an asterisk on this win because they are so bad, but you play who they send you, and you dominate them fully, and you get out with 3 points.
Right. Yeah. Watching this game, the biggest takeaway for me was, how did you not beat this team the last time? Like you said, we've gotten better. They've gotten worse. A big goalkeeping error for them again. In the return tie. We were solid at the back. That was the biggest difference.
Yeah. Their goalkeeping error did not cost them any points though. Like that was the third goal.
True.
That didn't change the result. Like our goalkeeping error cost us 2 points.
Yep.
But yeah, you're right. Chan had Derek Chan. Their Javier Garcia was their starting goalkeeper. He got benched because of his performance in the previous game. So Derek Chan did all right, not great. He made one really big save early, and as you mentioned, there was the big laugher at the end. I will say I liked their kits. I liked that yellow.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Brazil yellow, not like highlighter yellow, but like Brazil yellow.
Yeah. Their yellow is definitely better than Fort Wayne's yellow. I'll tell you that.
Right.
Yeah. And I also like the single stripe like that. I actually really wish Forward would do a shirt like that. With one blue and one pink and then all white. I think that would be really cool.
Ooh, that'd be a good looking shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll send the account a DM. Don't worry.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, it was a comprehensive win. I think all 3 goals were really strong. I'm really happy with Bolma again scoring. I'm really happy with Jackson Castro scoring. He's obviously not your goal scorer, but he's been working hard and it's good for him to get one. How did you not beat this team last time? 3-1 I feel like was a fair result. I don't think it was the beat down that we delivered to Corpus Christi, but it definitely was a comprehensive win. We came out of halftime strong, which I was really looking for. And it doesn't really feel like an escape with 3 points. It felt like we walked in knowing we should win, and we took care of business.
And we did. Yeah, there was an early goal called back for offside, which I was actually in a concession line, and I heard the cheer, and I was like, "Oh dang, I missed a goal!" And then by the time I got there, it was clear that it had been offside. Looking back at the video, I'm not sure he was offside.
Okay.
I mean, he definitely was ahead of the guy who was marking him, but I think there was 2 other guys that might have kept him on if we had the fancy World Cup technology.
Yeah.
But nobody from Madison complained too strenuously about it, so
Yeah.
okay. And it didn't matter anyway. The Derek Chan, as I mentioned, did really stand up the first time he was tested. I think about the 15th minute. Castro, talk about press. They were very selective about pressing moments in this game. Also, 30 game in 8 days, they're not going to go full tilt the whole time. But they did choose moments, and Jackson Castro forced a turnover on the press, got it to Steven Anajiamfi in all alone, and he was curling it to the upper 90, and Derek Chan made just a tremendous save on it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's easy to say, oh, you should have put it more in the corner. I mean, yeah, I'm sure he wanted to put it more in the corner.
Yeah.
But it could have been a little bit harder for him. But yes, it was a good save. I do agree. I think JT Harms make that save, but obviously to an air prone goalkeeper who's leading his team to last place, or him and his backup.
The backup goalkeeper on a last place team.
Yeah, right.
Great save, buddy.
Yes, good call.
Look at you.
Good call.
Good save.
Wallace Lapsley would have been happy with that save.
Yes, indeed. Ryan Carmichael gets his goal here. This is his 3rd goal of the season. The first that wasn't a chip. It was just a very simple corner. Roman Torres, I think, took the corner, put it across to the far post, and Ryan Carmichael told me after the match that he was supposed to make the near post run, but he forgot and he went to the wrong place, and then he's like saw the ball coming over and nobody was marking him, so he just sort of ran up and jumped and knotted it down. Perfectly executed though.
Yeah, it's so funny that you say that, actually, because I was about to say Kevin Carmichael is kind of the back post guy. If you have action running toward the front post and in the middle of the post, Kevin Carmichael is almost always at the back post to kind of clean it up. And I don't remember if he jumped or if it just went over him.
It was the other Carmichael. It was Ryan Carmichael.
Right. Yeah.
Who you would not expect to be. He was like the wrong Carmichael.
Yeah, he was the backup Carmichael. Exactly.
Right. But it did inspire the song "We All Dream of a Team of Carmichaels" to the tune of Yellow Submarine, which is maybe the best song going
could
right
be
now.
The song of the year. Yeah.
Yeah. Our friend Shadow Wolf, who is in the doldrums because he supports Portland Hearts of Pine, and they're doing very, very badly right now. They have just fallen off a cliff somehow.
Yeah.
But he posted after we scored that, like, oh, you're allowed to score on those? Like, we haven't I thought you were supposed to concede those. And it's like, that's like your fifth one this season. Actually,
Yeah.
it was our ninth set piece goal of the season.
Yeah.
I'm not
And
sure we've had that many in the history of this club.
no, absolutely not. And as I was saying about in the previous recap, I think I agree with you that quick counterattacks are kind of our identity. But I think that set piece
Mm-hmm.
score really is kind of our identity. I mean, are we up to 18 games, do you think? Because
Not in the
I would
league.
say,
No.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely not in the league. I would say we score on a set piece every other game. Let's see if we can keep riding that.
Just about. It could, right, on average, because we've had a couple games with more than one. But it is interesting though that when you are when you're not equipped to build and break down a mid block or a low block in a deliberate fashion, the two things you have are counterattacks and set pieces.
Yep.
So it feels like we've embraced that and are actually, and not only just like desperately like, oh, we got to lump long balls forward and hope something happens, but these like sort of long, direct counterattack type things and well run set pieces are really intentional
Yeah.
and successful. Therefore,
Yes. And credit to Matt Carnes, who specifically told us we want to be bigger and stronger and better on set pieces at the beginning of the year.
yes,
Because we kind of said, oh, you said that, and where is that? Here it was today against
it's
New York
coming.
Cosmos.
Yeah, and we had to be a little bit patient to see
Yeah.
it come together, but it definitely is coming together.
Yeah.
Only 3 minutes later, Roman Torres as one.
Yeah. What a fun goal.
That was such a fun goal. That was it's one of those that, which is a rare. This is a rare one that wasn't a counterattack. It was actually built. It was a Anna Giaffi comes across, slots it across to, I think,
Was
Ryan
it Gebhardt?
Carmichael.
Okay.
It was Gebhardt was involved. But it was like a bunch of guys involved. That's what was great about it. I think it was to Carmichael, and he gets into Castro and he gets it to Torres, and then it's Torres to Gebhardt back to Torres. And once it got to that central channel, it was always going forward, and it was like
Yep.
just pinball back and forth, and boom, 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 and Torres put it on his knee, popped it over to Gebhardt. He popped it back with his knee, and then went off a defender's head and up. And Derek Chan probably could have gone up for it, but didn't. And
Yeah.
um, Torres did the nice little scissor kick and nutmeg the keeper, which is like the
Chef's
insult,
kiss.
adding insult to injury. He nutmegged the keeper on a side bike.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Just beautiful.
That's not his first goal for us, is it? That's maybe his
No.
second goal. Okay.
I want to say second or third, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And good for him. Same as Jackson Castro. He's been working hard. He's not the kind of guy who you expect to get goals, but good for him to get a little reward. I hope he had a good time after the match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And that puts us 2-0 going to halftime, which is exactly where you didn't want to be, right? I mean, we should mention something else happened before halftime is Derek Gebhardt took a fist to the face.
Yeah.
It looked bad in real time. It looked like he was out. It looked like he was knocked out. I don't think he
Okay.
was, because they would not have. They didn't. I didn't see him do any concussion protocols with him, which means maybe he didn't take the hit in the head quite as much as it looked like, which is really good news. He was down for a little while. Walked off under his own power. The ball comes in. It's going to be a Derek Gebhardt header goal. It looked so good coming in, and Derek Chan came out to punch it away and punched Derek instead. It wasn't a foul. I think it's a right, no call. I don't think there's anything in it, intentional or anything. It's just coming together. But Derek did walk off under his own power. Was kind of limping. Couldn't tell if he was limping or just a little bit wobbly.
Yeah.
Tried to come back on, and immediately sat back down and said, "I got to get subbed off," because and I don't think it was because of a concussion. I think it was he was like grabbing his kind of groin area and like
Yeah.
hamstring something. So I think in addition to taking it in the face, he landed awkwardly or something, and now thankfully has a couple weeks to recover.
Yep.
But did the right thing and got himself off, and they brought in Joshua Bolma, which I thought was interesting. because he's much more of a defensive-minded player. And I asked Patrick Narco this after. I said, "Did you do that in order to shift the shape and to go maybe like more 4-4-2 kind of situation?" And he said, "No, that was a like-for-like substitution. That's like he views Joshua Bolma as the same kind of player as Derek Eppard, which is to say, Swiss Army knife player, right?
Yeah.
Versatile, can kind of go anywhere, do anything." Which I thought
Yeah.
was really interesting.
Yeah, I don't. Go ahead.
I mean, you had other strikers on the bench. You had Ngubu, you had Carmichael on the bench. You could have just done this leg for leg. But that Patrick Narco sees Joshua Bolma like Derek Eppard more than he sees Claude Ngubu as like Derek Eppard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and Gebhardt, as we've covered before, made that transition from outside defender, wingback, fullback, whatever you want to call it, to winger, to more of a forward in his Forward Madison career.
Yeah.
I don't expect Joshua Bolma to be here for 5 seasons, to be honest.
No.
But he's kind of got the same thing going where he can defend. He for sure is fast. He's good on the ball. I think of anybody in the squad, Bolma is probably the closest thing to Gebhardt that we have.
You're 100% right. I just had not thought of it that way. And except when I asked Patrick about that, and he kind of explained that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, they both are that versatile guy who can kind of do anything."
Now that they've told us, I agree. Yes.
Yes. So as I mentioned, now we go into halftime. Like I said, Derek. I was worried about Derek. I think he's gonna be all right. So you go back into halftime 2-0, just like last time. You don't want to come out and give it away, and scored 3 minutes into the second half, which is like the perfect way to put this game on ice, kind of early.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
Um.
Yeah, and you'll remember the previous game, the exact same thing happened, just like we said, 2-0 going into halftime, and then we made a giant flub to give them one, and then we had the goalkeeper well, I suppose their first goal was a really nice goal, and then we had a huge error to allow a second goal and them back in the game. This was exactly the opposite, and I think we've learned from those mistakes.
Yeah, and we were, and I think it was talked about at halftime, like we got to keep our foot to the gas, got to keep pushing, got to keep going. And they did, and it was quick passes going forward again. Really nice turn by Steven Giampi to hold it up. He gets it ahead to Carmichael. He carries it right into traffic. I think Ryan Carmichael took a shot that was probably a little bit optimistic, that he was surrounded by defenders, and it just blocked one of them. But the block fell right to Jackson Castro, who just on instinct just struck it from I don't know 25 yards maybe. Nice and low and through the traffic, and this is the goalkeeping mistake that you talk about. That Chan had it; he should have saved it.
Yeah, so I wish I had seen this one in person. You described it as a laugher. When I was watching the replay, the broadcast kind of fudged, so I didn't get good clarity on it. So I don't know if it was like a simple mistake or really an embarrassing one. But the point I'd like to make was it was kind of like a tip back rebound slam dunk in basketball, where it just fell right to you, and of course I'll swing my foot at it, and wham, and it just went right in. Yeah.
Yes. That's a bit of skill to take a ball that's rolling toward you and put it exactly where you want to put it with some power behind it, with enough power on it that if the goalkeeper does get a hand on it, he can't hold it. I will say I called it a laugher because if you look at the Instagram video of that I took of it, you can hear me laughing because it was he had stopped the ball. The ball had stopped and then it just kept rolling.
Yeah.
It dribbled it. It was pretty bad. But again, you put balls in dangerous areas and stuff like that happens.
Right.
And when
the best teams are also the luckiest.
Yep, and the worst are the unluckiest, and that happens sometimes. But the fact that we were even putting the ball in play like that, putting pressure on, testing the goalkeeper, that's exactly what we needed to do coming out of halftime. To take the wind out, any wind that they had in their sails coming out of halftime, any momentum that they thought they were going to try to get, it's gone.
Yep, absolutely.
They did get one back. This is we're among the best teams in terms of goals allowed, goals conceded. I think we're like tied for second in goals allowed, but we only have 2 clean sheets. I think, does that sound right? So it seems
It
like
could be.
clean sheet would have been nice here, but we didn't get it because this is another sort of weird lucky one that the ball comes in. It's just nobody gets a clean strike on it. It's just kind of like knocking around. I used to when I used to coach kids and a kid would swing and miss at a ball, I would be like, "Nice fake," like to pretend it was intentional. And
Yep.
that's basically what happened. Nick Zelanka took a swing and a miss at it, and and I think that kind of flummoxed our guys. We're like, "Wait, where's the ball?" And Guinzani just kind of poked at it, and it went in. And all our guys were because it was so chaotic. Like we had no shape at all. Like we had like 3 guys that kind of standing there, like trying to do something, and it just kind of poked in. And who cares? I
Yeah.
guess
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's a move you can make at 3-0, not at 1-0.
Right, and that's like that's kind of the flip side of the Fort Wayne one, where you give up a dumb goal. And it would be fine if we were able to finish on the other end. This time we were able to finish on the other end, so giving up that dumb goal at the end was fine.
Exactly. Great call. Yep.
So but that's why you got to finish them when you can, which we did in 2 of these 3 games. The difference among these 3 games is one game we didn't finish chances, the other 2 we did. And we still got 7 points out of it, which is great. If you look at the standings. I'll talk through the entire table later. But in terms of where Madison is, we're above the line now, which is to be expected, and we're only 3 points out of hosting a playoff game with a game in hand.
Yeah. Yeah, and to be clear, that is the goal of the club. As much as we'd like to say we want to win the championship, the first goal is to secure a home playoff game, and I really don't think that's unreasonable at all. There's no reason why this is going to be our only 7-point week of the year. I feel strongly that we're maybe not about to go on a winning streak, but I definitely feel like an unbeaten streak is possible.
Well, and the guys are starting to talk like before we had our first home match when we had like this Detroit City, and then we had like whatever. The guys were talking about we want Reece Stevens to be our fortress and stuff, and it's just talking points at that point because they've never actually played here.
Right.
They're all new here, like whatever. But at this point, after this game on Saturday, you started to really hear it and really feel it. Like we don't lose here. Like we've literally never lost here in the league.
Mm-hmm.
The one, it might be the only loss we have at home was to Detroit City, which was a 80th minute banger.
Yep.
That we gave up against the Division II team. So I think these guys, they're getting it into their heads. We don't lose here, which then gets into the other team's heads. We don't win there.
Yep.
And I think that's a mentality that we can carry the rest of the summer. And it's just that the schedule is lining up such that the rest of the summer is at home, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah. Things are coming together in Mingoville.
Yep. And don't want to jinx it, which I always do. Every time I say something good's happening, the opposite suddenly happens. But but it's a good time to be a member of the Mango Nation. We now go. There's no game this weekend. There was never going to be because this is their break.
Yep.
It's a health break this week. So I don't know if we'll have a show next week. We'll maybe talk about it. We'll see how things are going. Maybe we can do like a mid-season check-in with Carnes or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe next week, since we want to have a game to talk about. Then they'll have the July 1st. It's a midweek game at Spokane, which is they're tied with us on points.
Mm-hmm.
This is weird. They're tied with. We both have 20 points. Our goal differential is +7. Theirs is -1. Isn't that weird? I'm not sure how that works. Yeah, but when they get beat, they get really beat. That's what that means.
Yep.
And they've lost 3 in a row at this point. And then we have the friendly on July 4th, which was supposed to be the Tormenta game.
Yep.
And then we have Union Omaha on the 11th, which is a meaningless USL Cup game, and we're both out of that.
Yep.
So that's going to be an exhibition match, basically.
Yep.
And then almost the end of July before we have another league match. I'm a little concerned about momentum.
Yeah, this is a terrible time for us to have a break. Although you say that, and here we are coming off a 3-game week. So this probably
No,
is a fun time.
I think the break is right now is fine if we then resume the regular schedule after that. But we're gonna have one league match on July 1st, and then not have another one until like almost the end of July.
Gotcha.
Because of the missing Tormenta game and because of the cup match. The cup
Oh,
match
yes,
will be
okay.
fun. The cup match will be fun. I'll go to it, and it's going to be basically the same as USA versus Turkey in the World Cup, where it's just like all the bench guys are going to have some fun.
Yeah.
And anytime you put a professional athlete on a field, they want to win. They don't care.
Yeah.
Like they don't care what the table is, what this means, whatever. Like I'm going to win. I don't know if I ever told you this when I ran into Mitch Osmond at Home Depot one day.
Oh, you didn't tell me this.
Yeah, must have been. It wasn't last year. It must be the year before last. And I just randomly ran into him at Home Depot, and he was like, "Hey!" And it was after one of their international friendlies. There was a 2-2.
Yes.
It was a 2-2 draw.
I remember that one.
And he asked me, "Oh, did you go to the friendly?" And I was like, "I couldn't make it." And he was mad. He was like genuinely upset that it was a draw and that they didn't win. I'm like, anytime you put that man on a soccer field, he's going to want to win. It doesn't matter if it's meaningful or not. So all that to say, the Union Omaha match on July 11th will be meaningful for the 22 guys on the field, and it'll be fun to watch, but it's not going to affect the rest of the season. So, so we got some time where we're not going to necessarily need to be watching the table a lot. But that also means we'll actually end up with more games in hand 4 or 5 weeks from now.
Yeah, sure. I see. And it's also a free shot at Union Omaha. I mean, can't pass that up.
Right. Well, we get them twice more at home. We get the one in the cup match, and then, isn't it like the very last game of the season is Omaha here?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the last one or one of the last ones. Yep.
So anyway, interesting times. We will continue to put out shows. Maybe we'll do sort of maybe we'll take a little time off, and then do maybe like a mid-season check-in.
Yeah.
Next week, since we don't have a game to talk about, I'm just taking a quick peek of it. Yep, it is the very last game. Saturday, October 24th is home against Omaha. which I don't know though. I don't know, but they've lost 3 in a row now.
Oh, that's too bad.
Without scoring a single goal. 3 full games, no goals for Omaha.
That's too bad. That couldn't have happened to a worse team.
Feel rough for those guys. All right. Well, Ethan, have a wonderful time watching the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Netherlands and who? Tunisia?
Tunisia, yes.
Tunisia. Have a wonderful time again in Kansas City. We'll do an abbreviated around the league right after this. All right, since we kind of went on at length about those 2 matches, which was fun, we're going to do kind of an abbreviated around the league. We're going to skip the interview for this week. We will have next week, since there's no match this weekend, we will do something next week. We will maybe a couple of interviews. It's kind of a mid-season assessment of sorts. But in the meantime, we're going to talk through just very quickly around the league. We won't go quite as in depth as we usually do. Touch on the standings a minute, and then and our stoppage time. On Friday last week, Westchester hosting Portland Hearts of Pine, and they get the 5-1 victory. Westchester gets braces from Connor McGlynn, who scored in the 27th, and then converted a penalty in first half stoppage time. And then Jonathan Jimenez also got a brace, tallied twice in the second half on either side of a Miguel Diaz goal. Portland did get a consolation goal from Abubakar Kamara in the 93rd. And then on Saturday, Chattanooga 1, Naples 0. Omar Hernandez converts a penalty in the 72nd, and that's all the scoring in that one. Greenville loses at home to AV Alta 2-1. Brandon Fricke put Greenville on the board in the 38th. Christian Ortiz and Cesar Bahena responded late in this game to give Alta the win. Greenville coach Dave Dixon joined the Matt Glaeser club, getting set off late in stoppage time. He was arguably could have been a penalty. I'm not sure, but in any case, he was unhappy with the refereeing and got sent off. In Richmond, Fort Wayne comes to town and gets a 2-0 victory over the Kickers. Jack Thomas and Tag Healy both scored in the first half, and that runs Fort Wayne's unbeaten streak to 10. Pretty incredible for the first-year team. That has only happened twice before, I think, once or twice before for new clubs. Corpus Christi, here's the one that raised my eyebrows. Corpus Christi at home beats Sarasota Paradise 4-1. Jake Keegan gets a first half brace. Aaron Walker got one back via penalty for Sarasota in the 53rd, but then Enoch Kwakwa and Kaheem Thomas added 2 more for Corpus Christi. In Spokane, Knoxville comes to town and gets a 4-0 win over the Velocity. Finn McRobb and Teddy Baker tied in the first half, and Kyle Linares and Mikhail Goling added on in the second. Boise at home defeats Omaha 1-0 on a 69th minute goal from Tumimo Shabane, and that's Omaha's 3rd consecutive loss and 3rd consecutive match without a goal. As we record here on Wednesday night, there's a couple of games in progress. We'll mention just very quickly on Wednesday night, Corpus Christi and AV also currently goalless, and Spokane leading Westchester 2-1. We will get you up to speed on those. And then earlier on Wednesday, Portland finally bounces back out of their doldrums, and they beat Richmond 5-1 on goals from Diego Gonzalez in the 19th. Richmond got one back from Josh Kirkland in the 25th. Ollie Wright in the 57th. Constantinos Georgialidis in the 60th. Abubakar Kamara in the 70th, and then add one more for fun, Abubakar Kamara again in stoppage time. So Portland saved up all their goals for this one, apparently, on Wednesday night. So after all that, the standings are like this. Omaha still on top of the table with 28 points, mostly because they have more games than everybody else. That's how they've accumulated points early in the season. The rest of the pack is catching up, though. There was a moment there when Omaha was starting to get some separation from second place, but the other teams are catching up. Knoxville in second, only 1 point behind with 27. Charlotte with in third with 26 and 3 games in hand, by the way. Alta now in fourth with 24. Spokane on 23 points. Boise and Fort Wayne both on 21. And then Forward Madison rounding off the top 8 on 20 points. So the top 8 positions separated by 8 points. The top 3 positions only separated by 2 points. So it's really anybody's race still. And everybody's got games in hand on Omaha. Down at the bottom of the table, Cosmos remain in wooden spoon position, and Greenville Triumph only 3 points ahead of them, and Kickers also down there in what would be the relegation zone on 11 points. All right, quick stoppage time for you. The United States, as you know, plays Turkey on Thursday night. That game is pretty meaningless because the United States has already won the group. Turkey has already been eliminated. So we just, we're going to run through the motions, try not to get any yellow cards, and try to keep some momentum going into the round of 32. The round of 32, our opponent, given other results in other groups, is almost certainly going to be Bosnia and Herzegovina. Not a great side. Played well in the group stage. They're in third place in their group, despite they're playing pretty decently. Just not at the level of the rest of the field. So the United States should be able to advance to the round of 16. In that round of 32 game, though, our opponent, Bosnia-Herzegovina, has a player from Appleton, Wisconsin. Some of you have probably heard of this guy. Esmir Baraktarovic is from Appleton. He's actually Ricardo Pepi's teammate at PSV Eindhoven in his club career, but he chose to play for the country of his parents, Bosnia and Herzegovina, on the international stage. He actually scored the penalty that qualified them for the World Cup, that won the qualification playoff to get to the World Cup. So that's tremendously exciting for him, and it'll be just very cool, I think, for him to play against USA, for a Wisconsin kid to be in the World Cup, and now to go up against the United States. So keep an eye on that match. That I believe will be July 1st, if I'm not mistaken. So watch for that. And until then, enjoy your Mingos free weekend. Catch the last rally game on Friday night. I'll be there. We will have one last rally cast next week, along with sort of a mid-season something, a Forward Madison focused. I'm not sure exactly what, but in any case, we'll be back in your feed next week. Till then, up the goes. The 608 Soccer Show is part of the 365 Media Network, hosted by Rob Chappell and Ethan Maurice. Produced by Rob Chappell, with a theme song by Rob Dees. Follow the show on Instagram and Blue Sky at 608 Soccer. And remember to subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast app.